Hi guys, happy Tuesday. Yeah, happy Tuesday. So, yeah, yesterday was crazy. Holy crap. Thank you guys for being so patient with me yesterday. That was insane. That was a lot of readings. It was amazing. That was seriously amazing. I don't know how I'm that accurate. I don't know. So, ask my subconscious. Good word? I don't know. But, alright, so we're going to go into the Greek goddesses now. So, it's just going to be focusing on more of the Greek goddesses, and it's just amazing. So, alright, now in this section, the primary focus will be on the ancient Greek goddesses. However, in the discussion of the Greek goddess, we will also be identified and equated with her Roman equivalent, since the Romans did they borrowed much of Greek mythology, often changing the names but leaving the primary archetypal motive virtually untouched and unaltered. So, good. The linkage to Rome to ancient Greece is commonly known as reported by ancient writers such as the Roman historian Livy, and the poet Virgil in the Aeneid. So, to the educated reader, this point is obvious but should be re-emphasized. So the ancient Greeks became the first Western civilization at about 2000 BCE, and a rich mythology originated within that culture that became fully developed by the 1700s BCE. So, at this time, three classic collections of myths, Hesiod's Theogony and Homer's the Iliad and the Odyssey first appeared within the same general time frame. Later, the Roman poet Ovid, 43 BCE through 18 CE, in his Metamorphoses provides that the last accepted classical account of creation. The deities of ancient Greece were wholly anthropomorphic gods and goddesses who gave no special revelation or spiritual teaching to humanity. So established no churches or formal structure, and no holy book. They were associated with three main domains: the sky, heaven, the sea, the earth, and they interacted. Oh my god, I am tired. Interacted freely with human beings. So the primary Greek goddess connected to the archetype of the Magna, Mater, or Gaia, Demeter, Hera, Athena, Artemis, Aphrodite, and Persephone, all with the exception of Gaia, so are interpreted as archetypal psychological manifestations of the primordial power of the feminine in various guises and roles. Alright, now we have Gaia. So it is interesting to note that the Greek common noun for the land is Gi, or Ga, the root of the words geography or geology. So Gaia is known as Earth or Mother Earth. Now, according to Leadbetter, Gaia was the early Earth goddess born from chaos, similar to the description of creation in Genesis, and along with her name, Eros. So Gaia then gave parthenogenetic birth to the sea, Pontus, yes, and the sky, Uranus. It's not Uranus, you guys, it's Uranus. So while other versions report that she had siblings, Tartarus and Eros, and even though a virgin birth brought forth the sky, the mountains, and the sea, the Romans knew her as Tellus, Gaia. So here, at the beginnings of Western civilization, the creative force is female, and the underpinning of all the physical existence. Indeed, in the late 20th century, the British scientist James Lovelock formulated the controversial theory, the Gaia hypothesis, that states that the planets function as a single organism that constantly maintains conditions of equilibrium necessary for survival, just as the human body does likewise. And like human life, the Earth is a single living entity, Miller. So the search for the primal mother goddess really begins with the Earth itself, and all of the other goddesses are various manifestations sprung from the first source. So an even more interesting idea connected with this theory is that human beings are part of an evolutionary process whereby the Earth is developing a human organism Yeah, that's the word. Okay, never mind. That allows her to become self-reflexive, and conscious of her life, of her existence. So, in regard to her Roman incarnation as Tellus, Lindmans writes, the Roman goddess of the earth, equated with the Greek goddess Gaia, Terra Mater, also known, and also with the fertility goddess Circe. Wow, Tellus, Earth, had a temple on the Forum Passus, built in 268 BCE on her festival, the Fordicidia, held on April 15th. Cows, being with young, were sacrificed on January 24th through the 26th. The Sementave were held in honor of Tellus and Circe, and during these days they were called upon for protection of the seed and the sower. So Fama was thought to be the daughter, Tellus. So the reproductive faculties of Gaia are readily apparent, since fertility and reproduction are crucial to procreation of life, propagation of life, which logically leads to discussion of the two major divinities associated with this concept, Demeter and Persephone. There's so much, so much. It's amazing how they are all connected. I love it. I really do. So, all right, Demeter and Persephone. Now, the Greek goddesses Demeter and Persephone, Roman Circe, and Proserpina represent both the divine generosity and the caring faculty inherent in the feminine archetype. She is the goddess of agriculture, the pure nourisher of youth, and the green earth, the health-giving cycle of life and death, and preserver of marriage and the sacred law. So she is invoked as the bringer of seasons in the Homeric hymn, a subtle sign that she was worshipped long before the Olympians arrived. Demeter. So Demeter was the patroness of generosity in Greek mythology, and was much loved by humanity because she bestowed the harvest gift, a great reward for cultivating the land. She instructed the human race in the lessons of growing, preserving, and preparing grain, and was also believed to bestow fertility upon the earth. So she is unique in that she was the only Greek goddess daily invoked in the lives of ordinary mortals. So, unlike other goddesses who intervene only to further their own self-interests, Demeter was the magna nurturer of mankind, and she was also extraordinary in that she had an empathic understanding of human grief and suffering, because she had fully experienced this psychological aspect in the loss of her own daughter Persephone. So, that's wow. So this loss and the subsequent bereavement of Demeter is primarily known originally in the Homeric hymn to Demeter. So this story is not only about the abduction of Persephone and Demeter's anger, but it also alludes to the Eleusinian mysteries, and Demeter was honored at such festivals at the Thesmophoria, Demeter in Greek mythology. So, in the hymn, Hades, entranced by Persephone's beauty, abducted her and whisked the young maiden away to the underworld. Demeter, the archetypal wronged woman, retreated to her temple to mourn and brood the loss of her daughter. Now, with her retreat from the world, no planted seed sprouted and brewed the loss of her daughter. I read that. And nothing grew in the fields. It kind of sounds like Pesta. So, removed from the field of beneficent experience, humanity was doomed to extinction unless Demeter removed her curse from the land. Eventually, Rhea, Demeter's daughter, upon the urging of Zeus, convinced Demeter to lift her curse. In returning, Persephone would be able to spend 2/3 of the year with her mother, when the remaining 1/3 of the year would be in the presence of Persephone's husband, Hades. We have a little Easter egg there. Where do you guys know this from? I know you guys know this part. Where is this from? It's evident. So, alright, where'd I go? Okay, now when Persephone is with her husband, the earth is barren. So that'd be winter. But when she returns to her mother, Demeter, out of the great joy and love, brings forth once again the fruitful blessings of spring. Just as the year was divided into thirds, the psychological impact of Demeter on the feminine consciousness is threefold. Wronged woman, sorrowful mother, and Phesond, giver of life when appeased. The archetypal protection of this aspect of the great mother goddess is clearly revealed. Now, in addition, it is interesting to note that the descent to and return from the underworld at the time of spring is an ancient archetypal conception that unmistakably impacted the formation of the early Catholic Church and its dogma. That's great right there. Another impact upon the contemporary world is that the Roman name for Demeter, Circes, is the root of the modern word cereal. Wow. Okay, that's interesting. That's really interesting. Cereal. Okay. Well, the harvesting. So that makes sense. Now we have Hera. Hera, or Juno in Roman. She was the daughter of Cronus and Rhea and the queen. Rhea and the queen of the Olympian deities. Her worship mainly consisted of her recognition as a goddess of marriage and rebirth. Now, in ancient legend, it was believed that each year Hera's virginity returned when she bathed in the well Canathus. Now, ancient writers presented Hera as insanely jealous of Zeus's, her husband and brother, numerous amorous affairs. So goddesses and mortals alike could not escape her jealous wrath, as she punished them with merciless fury. So, as an example of her archetypal anger, as the vengeful wife of an unfaithful husband, Lindman writes, she placed 2 serpents in the cradle of Hercules. She had Io guarded by a 100-eyed giant. She drove the foster parents of Dionysus mad. She tried to prevent the birth of Apollo and Artemis. Even Zeus usually could not stand up to her. Sometimes when he got angry, he chained her to the mountain of Olympus by fastening anvils to her feet. However, most of the time Zeus resorted to the Stargagems. So he either hid his illegitimate children or he changed them into animals. Hera. So that's interesting. That's a little different, but that's really interesting. So despite her husband's many infidelities, Zeus was a horny one. He was a little horny guy. Still is. So, identifies, despite her husband's many infidelities, Hera is the archetype of the wife who attempts to maintain stability and continuity in the marriage. So this aspect of her personality is readily apparent in the Iliad as the goddess who oversees the institution of marriage when she takes sides with the Greeks opposing Paris, who has violated the marriage institution by his seduction of the Helen of Troy. However, she is not just solely the patroness of legitimate marriage. That would be limiting the archetype, so archetypes are not limited much. So, though her marriage with Zeus, the king of the gods, she is also associated with sovereign power, the nature of a political marriage, of dominance and not romantic love, of stability within the family structure. I like that. So according to Macari, the truth is that early Greek culture did not place a great value on legitimacy as a determination of succession, or inheritance. Hera's role is never one of mother, and in fact the children produced by Hera are somehow objectionable, like Eros or Eris or Hephaestus. Wow, some of these are really hard to pronounce, so whatever. So it is as if the power, Zeus and Hera, cannot be combined in one powerful offspring. It is too much. So the purpose of the union is not the children themselves, but rather the control and the consolidation of power between Zeus and Hera. To recognize the marriage is always a struggle between intimacy and freedom, social roles and private behavior. So it is always a combat between men and women. The struggles of the day, the warfare of life, can only be resolved in the intimacy of the wedding bed. Hera is queen and victim, eternally young and furiously jealous. Like marriage itself, she is a goddess of relationships that are complex and perplexing, socially ordained and privately maintained, sexually enticing and internally jealous. Every man or woman entering into such a relationship must learn to understand the complexity and ambivalence of marriage. Hera, the politics of marriage. Very interesting. I mean, wow. So, thus, Hera's archetypal role is psychologically complex, and is not the stereotyped version of the great mother goddess, so often portrayed as the primordial concept of the feminine. Wow. I love it. I love it. I love this. This is incredible. And this all is connected to Lilith. All of it. And we'll find out more tomorrow for Witchy Wednesday. We'll go on to Athena. So it's just, I love this. It's incredible. So, alright guys. But yes, thank you guys for being so great in the chat yesterday. That was crazy. But I'll see you guys here in just a second because I'm going to go live again. So I love you all very much. All my love. All the way from Venus. All the way back down. So yes, thank you guys for all your wonderful comments, everything. You guys are just seriously amazing. So I love you all very much. And I will see you guys tomorrow. So everybody have a good